I don't know. We're going to have two Andys now or what? That would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? See, I could talk shit behind his back. Oh, no, he's joining.
Welcome to another episode of
Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy.
I'm Andy Vargo, and this is my bestie,
Cheri Hardman. We decided to do something.
Yeah?
Andy Vargo and I will do anything for attention.
Yes, we will.
I'll tell you what I did. My nails, my hair, and my nails, my hair.
You gotta give yourself credit for all the things you do.
I'll tell you what I did earlier, later.
Now I don't know when it'll happen.
Earlier. And we're here to discuss my nails, my hair, and
Being the best at no matter what it is that you're doing. Now I don't know when it'll happen.
welcome to Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy, episode 45. This is my good friend, Andy Vargo. Oh, I did it the wrong way. My name is Cheri Hardman. This is my good friend,
Andy Vargo.
There we go. All right. We did that. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so out of sync today. I don't know if it's just the weather or me or what. Or
The
because
weather
I stayed out too late
sucks.
last night.
True. You were out late,
Just
partying like a young heathen.
Oh, I got home at 4:30. It was ridiculous. But, you know, I didn't even do anything that crazy, just chilling.
Yeah. Well,
Made a bad choice, and now I've been paying for it all day with a very lack of productive day. So anyway, but that looks like a lovely top you have on.
thank you. It is. I'm trying to get more like short sleeve tops for like when I go to Vegas. I
Yeah.
don't always like to wear like an over jacket or something, but I don't like my flappy arm fat to show. It's really not that bad compared to some women my age and size, but
I have a hard time finding short sleeve shirts too, just because sometimes I feel kind of dorky in them. Like it's hard to find them that look cool, but that aren't.
yeah.
I don't know. Like I should have a pocket protector in my pocket. I don't know. So I get it. I'm trying to keep my eye out for some more trendy clothes as always, but that is life. So
I got one new shirt and one new dress for my next trip to Vegas, and so I'm not allowed to shop anymore till I go.
I see.
I got a new swimsuit, new dress, yeah.
You got to put a limit.
Mm-hmm.
When is Vegas? 3 weeks away? 4 weeks away? Next
The 30th,
year?
so
Oh my gosh. That's
21
not far at
days,
all.
3 weeks. Ooh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I haven't saved up any buffer money, so I got to really save.
Yeah.
We have vacation pay, so that's going to help.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Yes, I am looking at figuring that stuff out right now myself with what I want to get done this summer. So Cheri,
There's going to be some traveling this summer.
I know we've got
So that's going to be worked in there.
things on the calendar. So speaking of traveling and stuff coming up, I know we got a show coming up on Saturday. Do you have anything before that you want to tell people about?
I do not. I am just working on this stupid fucking roast that we're doing on Saturday.
It's
I
gonna
love
be a
you,
blast.
but oh my God, it's going to be fun.
It is.
I am sweating it out, man. It's really.
Oh my God. It was interesting. You made a good point in your post yesterday about the thing that's hard with roast is it's comedy for a deadline. It's not necessarily about, the roast being hard. It's that you have to write specific jokes on a specific topic or person by a certain time. I can come up with jokes for you all the time where I'm like, oh, I'm make fun of you here or poke fun there.
And it's 7 jokes. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
7 jokes. I don't even write 7 jokes in a year. Like, what are they talking about? So,
I have 2 that I'm very happy with that I just giggle every time I tell them to myself. And then I have a couple that I'm kind of like, I might tweak them. And then I have some others I'm still kind of working on and, kind of deciding. It's like, well, if I come up with something better, I'll kick one out. But
right. Yeah.
I definitely need at least a couple more and preferably a couple more zingers or good ones.
I
Not
know.
zingers as far as like, totally throwing you under the bus, but making the audience laugh their ass off. That's the goal.
Remember, audiences like me, so.
I know, and that's the thing is I could just look like a complete asshole if I roast you too much or the wrong way.
Somebody said like you guys should do it like, it's like a Sonny and Cher type thing.
I got
Because
you,
they would
babe.
come out and kind of roast each other.
Oh, really?
Yes, they would.
Okay, that's cool. I might have to watch one of them episodes if they have it on vinyl or whatever you watch those kind of videos on.
There's this thing called YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I'll try
Watch
that.
stuff on it, Andy. Like, I don't know. Like, I bet they even have The Shining on there.
Oh, maybe. I hear that's good. So if you want to catch us, and even if you don't, just come watch us this Saturday at Tacoma Comedy Club at 4:30.
4:30. So if you're old, it'll still be light out when the show's over.
Yes.
You could probably even
4:30
stay.
show.
You could probably even stay for one of the nighttime shows after that, and it would still be light when you come out of there.
Right?
Although I guess we're in this rain for. Will you stop? We're in this rain. Dave said for like the next 10 days it's supposed to rain.
Oh my God.
That's just
Wow.
wrong.
This is, I'm not one to bitch about the weather around here, but I really enjoyed the sunny day we had on Tuesday this week. I'm glad that summer came and went already.
I just want to like assert that I think I said this last week, but my allergies are just kicking my ass. But my allergy symptoms just consist of eyes that water constantly.
Okay.
Like I have to put eyeliner on like 3 times a day because it just waters right off. So if I appear to be crying, I'm not.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, well, somebody does. Not you, but
I'm just kidding. I hate that sometimes, like when if I'm outside and it's windy and the wind like goes behind my glasses, it makes my eyes water and then it just won't stop sometimes. And I'm just like, now I just look like I'm crying because it was cold and windy and I can't take this weather.
What's funny is when you're in Vegas, it's super windy there sometimes, and it's like this hot wind. And I remember the first time that I went there after I got lash extensions.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel my eyelashes just waving, from
Oh,
the
funny.
wind.
That's funny.
But then next week we're going to Idaho.
We are going to Idaho. We got 2 shows. We got the show at Twisted District Brewery on Friday night, and it's an 8:30 show. I had it in my head that it was 7:30, but it's 8:30 at night. And then which is a great time for a Friday night show. And
now,
then
aren't we on a different time zone over there?
yes, but it's 8:30 there. So on I think on our event it shows up like at 7:30 when you look at the event from ours.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, are we gonna have to do math to figure out what time to leave? Like,
well, we are because when I went to, this is funny story. Well, it's not really funny, but I'm gonna say it anyway as if it is. But last year I was driving to Montana to visit
jokes.
a friend. Huh?
Nothing.
So I'm driving to Montana and I'm like making good time and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be there an hour earlier than I thought because and I'm watching the time. But on GPS, what's interesting is it'll say, 9 hours. Like it'll say the trip will take you 9 hours to get there, and it'll say ETA 8 p.m. right? Well, as soon as you cross the time zone, all of a sudden the time that you're driving stays the same, but all of a sudden the ETA switches to 10 p.m. It doesn't give you the ETA in the time zone of when you're arriving. So like when we load our thing here, we have to know that the actual arrival time will be an hour later. And it's obvious if you do the math and you go, oh, that's not 9 hours from now, but it doesn't account for the fact that as you're driving, you're going to cross a time zone. And all of a sudden I was like, I crossed into the spot and I'm like, oh, I'll be there around, 7:30. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, funny story. Apparently it's going to be 8:30 because my GPS wasn't in the right time zone yet.
Well, I know because I was looking, somebody was, I think maybe it was Tyler. Somebody was looking for someone to go to Montana. And I don't ever go over that way. I've never been to Idaho or beyond.
Yeah.
Really. So I just like looked on a map and I'm like, why does it say like it takes less time to go to Montana than it does to Idaho? And then I realized, then I looked and saw how far down Idaho, Boise is in Idaho. So I learned some geography this week.
Nice, a little studying.
Yeah.
Because Montana, you just go straight across that little clip there, depending on what part you're going to. Because when I went last year, I was going to Helena, and I think it was about a 10-hour drive with, you know, I stopped for lunch in Spokane. But
so yeah, there's that.
That's
and
exciting.
then did we get to the point where you have a show the next afternoon?
Yes, and then I have a brunch of laughs the next afternoon at 2:00, which is their Pride show. So that's going to be a big gay hoopla. So that's going to be fun. I don't think it's always a Pride show. I think this month is a Pride themed show.
Yeah.
And so so that'll be fun. And then we're gonna hightail it back here.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a fun
I get home in time for my nephew's wedding. So
woot woot, it's wedding season.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And then so next Thursday is my last day of work. And we're leaving on Friday. So I'll be done for the summer. The following week I have a disabled list show. And then I mean to check on this because it wasn't on the calendar. I have Live Rude Girls booked, but it's not on the TCC calendar. So, and then I have in the afternoon on like the 25th or 6th, whatever that Saturday is. And then I have a show in Ording that night. So it's going to be like,
it'll be a fun
zip. Yeah.
Right. Zip,
and then, later on this month, we have a powerhouse. You know, I've not been saying that it's an all-female lineup because I want it to just be comedians and not even mention that.
Right.
But I got some powerhouse women, like all together. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that some of the biggest problems we run into as far as getting along is just an overuse of adjectives. Like we just always have to put in a descriptive word in front of everything instead of just saying you're a comedian or you're this or you're that. Like when we try to like overly label everything, I mean, that's actually to me causes more separation or more, it kind of diminishes. It's like, well, you're a comedian, you're a comedian. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, whatever. If you're in front of an audience that you're celebrating that, then maybe it makes sense to call that out. However, in general, let's just be funny people.
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna talk about this, but something really bugged me last night.
Okay, let's hear about it.
So I was at Nate Jackson's club for the comedy contest.
Yes.
I don't want to talk any shit about a club ever.
Right.
But I am going to bring up something that I see in a lot of different places that I find problematic. And it bothered me last night just because I see it everywhere. And there it was. But almost every woman that got up on stage had to deal with some discussion of her looks, her sexuality, whether she was bangable, if she was a cougar.
Like in the jokes they were telling, or?
No, I'm talking about the judges mostly.
Oh.
And like I didn't think your joke, you know, your jokes were hit and miss, but you are a MILF, like you're a cougar. You know, it's like, And I know, like in a comedy environment, it's like we're all ha ha ha, let's have a good time. But after a while, as a woman, I was like, fucking A. Nobody's saying anything like that to any of these guys. Well, of course, we have 3 male judges last night, you know. But like as a woman, okay, maybe I was going to say I would never. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe I would. So maybe next time I'm judging something, I'm just going to say, maybe you should wear tighter pants, or I think you're bangable, or, you know, you're a DILF, you got a dad bod, whatever. Like that has nothing to do with
the comedy
they're saying and and what the competition is. So I was a little bit disappointed in that. I'm just going to say that. And I'm not blaming that directly on the club or anything. It's just the 3 people that happen to be there.
Yeah, because they aren't officials of the club that are judging.
And there's probably nothing wrong with them as people, but
it's interesting because like it's one thing if you say, oh, you told this joke about whatever, but you don't have the appearance that you like. If I told a joke about running a marathon, but it looks like it's obvious that I am not a marathon runner by my fitness, then it's like, okay, that's hard to have a believable joke. So maybe it makes sense to make a comment like under that context where obviously that's not what you're talking about. But what I'm saying is like, this is the thing where it's like people think, oh, well, why am I commenting on all these things that have nothing to do with any joke you said, any presence of your performance?
And I'm going to say maybe some of the women told some jokes about sex, which may have prompted some of the comments. But it was every woman that got up. It was like, it just, except for one woman, nothing was said about her. So maybe the sexual jokes about sex invite this, but there's a lot of talk about crushing pussy and doing it in this position coming from the men too, you know, so it doesn't work the same. So anyway, that was just annoying. And I've just been thinking about it all day because especially one woman had to go first, and that is a hard spot to be in.
Oh, yeah.
And the audience wasn't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular woman had a rough set. Wasn't that any of her jokes weren't good. It just didn't gel perfectly. And
well,
so
it's good to be able to see like your experience so you can see that. I think we don't always feel that. No matter how much experience you have, you don't necessarily feel that in the moment. You don't feel all of the other factors. You're just like, shit, that was a crappy set. But
I mean, a really dynamic comedian could have done okay. But when you're, some comedians are a little quieter or a little less,
and that's something I know that as a producer, you're very aware of when you're putting shows together. I know we've talked about that where you're like, I need to put this person here, there, put so-and-so between here and there because I can't have 2 drier comedians. Even they could be hilarious, but if the personality is too much the same in a row, and then all of a sudden you have all the comedians that are in your face and boisterous and yelling, it's like, okay, let's balance this out.
So I felt bad for her, but then when they were critiquing her, like, well, your jokes didn't hit, kind of like it wasn't about you, but you're really a cougar and a MILF and all this. And she had not presented herself in that way at all. So that's where it started. And I felt uncomfortable with that. So maybe just that one, then I noticed every little thing that was said in a different way than I maybe would have noticed it if it hadn't started out like that. So
and it's like, where on the evaluation form does it ask for you to comment on my looks and my body type? And because like, I get it if there's a comedian where like you're like, oh, you know what, you have a really quirky personality and the way you dress and come across, it really fits into your comedy style. You're talking about the whole package. Now if you're talking about just your jokes, also it's like, but I need to comment about this, like, that's uncalled, that's unnecessary.
I mean, it's different. Like, I get up there and talk about my vagina. I'm going to expect the judges may mention my vagina.
Right, that's fair.
Because I'm shoving it in their faces.
I was going to ask you about this the other day, and I don't know that it's awful, but when there's that, this is a little bit off, but when comedians get on stage and they're like, I don't know why it's a pet peeve of mine, but it just feels kind of easy. But when it's like, I look like, and then compare 2 things or something, like, I mean, I know sometimes that can be funny. But I saw a couple things lately where it was like 3 things in a row. And it was just like, oh my God, here comes another, I look like so-and-so from whatever.
Like 3 things from the same person or 3 people in a row?
I feel like it was just like I saw a few in the same night and I was just
well, like, part of that doesn't bother me, but part of that is because people, one of the first things they tell you, if there's something different about your appearance or noteworthy, address it right away. Otherwise people are going to be thinking like, look, he looks like a cross between, or like,
That's true.
whatever.
Yeah, there is that.
So it's just getting it out of the way and saying what it is. But yeah, that is kind of, I don't want to say a hack because people throw that word around, but it is a common thing that people do.
And I guess I guess more, this was probably the way it was said. It wasn't just like, didn't seem to tie in. It was just more like, I'm getting on stage saying, I look like I use too much mustache wax or whatever, whatever thing. It's like, okay, let's have a story or lead into it, or because I've heard it where it doesn't sit wrong at all, where it just kind of flows, and then it's
Well, a lot of times too, those jokes happen a lot in a roast.
Oh, well, oh, for sure. Well, and that makes sense.
And so they hear other people using those jokes. It's usually probably open micers that do that, because they've heard other people tell that style of joke. So I don't know.
Yeah.
My pet peeve, and I try not to do this, I probably have slipped, is to go, hey, how's everybody doing? When 7 comedians before you have asked, how's everybody doing? Why are you wasting your time with how's everybody doing tonight?
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So how you doing tonight?
Nobody gives a shit. I wanted to talk about kind of the contest. Like I've been hearing a lot of people talking or like reading a lot of Facebook statuses. And it's kind of interesting to not be in the middle of the competition and to hear all the buzz around me.
Yeah, because last year you were in it.
Yeah. And we've been in enough competitions that we know the things. And so I kind of wanted to address maybe to people that are newer, what to look out for or how to handle the criticism and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, let's hear it.
First of all, you'll hear this and it's true. Competitions can be soul crushing.
Oh, that is very true.
You can be convinced that you had a much better set than someone else and they can come out on top over you. And it kind of can make you feel like the world's against you and everybody hates you. And might make you feel angry at the judges or the audience or whoever's voting. You know what? Judging last week made me really realize that I put my scores down, but I didn't see the other judges' scores. We did not compare notes or anything. I had no idea how they voted. It just happened that the people that I picked were the people that got picked, But maybe I really loved someone and they really hated someone. That could really skew the scores. It's just
right.
One person's opinion can really switch it up.
True. Yeah. And excuse me.
Comedy's subjective.
That's what I was just gonna say, is because that's the other thing is you could have jokes that land in front of audiences for a couple of years, and also you do them in a contest, and whoever's judging or even the audience that night, if it's that way, it might just not be as funny to that crowd or that person, and that was the one person that mattered on that vote. And if you then take that to think, I'm giving up, I can't ever win a competition, you're putting your value, you're giving up like what your value is just to that one person.
Right.
Like, and why? And we do that all the time in all sorts of ways in life, but we don't really realize that that's what we're doing. We're giving them all that power. And when in reality, if you said, are you going to choose if you keep doing it based on what one person says, any one of us would be like, no, I'm going to, I don't believe that. I'm going to do this and that. But then when we're in those situations where it comes down to that one person, it's like we forget that and we throw all the rules out the window that we've tried to create.
We've seen people storm out of the venue over a contest more than once. Which, if you can't handle yourself better than that, fucking.
Or I've seen people just not do comedy again for a long time,
Yeah. So you know, I've talked about this before, but stuff will happen. Like the year that I won the Comedy Voice, one of the judges said, "Oh, I think so and so." Well, someone asked him, "Who do you think's going to win?" And he said he thought so and so was going to win, but maybe Cheri might have brought enough people with her that might put her over the top. Those people that were cheering for me were fans.
Right.
There were nobody that I brought, and that to this day really still insults me. Like I bring it up all the time because I fucking earned that applause and that laughter, and that
Right. And
really.
if you brought people, whether they're fans that came to see you or people that decided they liked you that night, or you have enough friends and family to pull people in, that's part of the business. And that's only going to take you so far anyway. If it's just friends that are being nice to you, eventually they're not funny, they're not going to come, or they're going to, run out of money to spend on coming to all your shows. But the thing is, I remember when I was new in comedy and being told when I took the class at TCC, it was like, you have to get at least 2 out of 3 things. You have to either be funny and bring people and sell tickets, or you have to be, and the third thing is easy to work with. And so it's like, if you can be easy to work with and sell a lot of tickets, you don't have to be quite as funny on stage. If if you get all 3, that's awesome. But so when people get in this up in arms about, well, they just won because they had a crowd. Well, that's putting on a show. That's the business of comedy, is bringing a crowd. And if you are bothered by that, then you're in the wrong business, and you should just go back to doing it as a hobby.
Well, and then that's the thing. Like, but people that are not funny have won contests because they brought people. And if your idea is that this contest is supposed to be the funniest person, that will kind of rub you the wrong way. You know,
Sure.
It's like, oh, you're not the funniest person. You just, because the newer the person is, the more people they're going to bring. I mean,
there's that truth. Yes.
My family and friends never come see me anymore.
Well, and the thing is, winning a contest doesn't guarantee you getting booked. So you could win that contest because you have a lot of people there, and if you're not funny enough, you still aren't going to get booked. Yeah. And if you can do both, if you can be just funny enough and bring people,
right,
then even better.
But here's the other thing, is that usually in a contest, either verbally or just by what's happening, you're going to get a lot of feedback on your set that you don't normally get. Now, a lot of these big contests, you will hear critiques of your set in front of people.
Yeah.
Now, do they do that at the Comedy Voice? They kind of do, don't
Typically,
they?
Yeah, they did the last time.
I'm trying to remember, yeah. And so sometimes that's hard to hear. Sometimes it's good to, but I think it's always good to hear, even if you don't agree with it, because at least that's what one person was thinking while you were up there on stage. Right. And whether you decide to adjust your set based on that or not, that's up to you.
Well, I run into this a lot with like clients and stuff when we're talking about feedback. Like, you can choose to agree with or not the feedback you get, but it doesn't change the truth that that's the reality of how someone is receiving how you put yourself out there. And so you need to at least be aware of that. And maybe sometimes that's not your audience, and that's okay. And you say, you know what, I get that that's how you feel, but you're not really my target audience. But if you aren't attracting your target audience, then you got some work to do to find them. And so maybe you should listen to some of the feedback, or you can just know that, well, I was in a room that wasn't my type of people, and I actually do get good feedback when I'm in another room. But it's good to hear, because it's valuable to know that there may be times where you do need to adjust based on what audience you have.
Well, it's like, for example, I noticed that last year in the Funniest MFer contest, the people that did better typically were more energetic comedians.
Oh, yeah. You like moving around the stage and using a lot more act out. Yeah.
And a lot of act outs and loudness, and that I'm not like that at all. But it did make me realize that I need to however I can incorporate a little more energy into my set, that's something
Sure.
that I need. So that was good feedback for me just by noticing what everybody else was doing, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, you know me, I found a couple articles about competition and stuff, so I'm
Okay.
kind of looking that.
You're not going to read us an article, are you?
No, yeah, I will. I'll read it. I'll take off all my clothes and read it. Then people
Okay.
listen to it.
It'll be like the naked news, the naked weather channel.
You know, it's not whether you win or lose, Andy, but it's how you play the game. When you lose, you know, be gracious, and when you win, be humble.
Yeah,
For sure,
that's true.
because
And
nobody wants them.
I am a firm believer. I think I might have even talked about this last week. It's just that whole thing of you show your true colors way more when you're rejected or when you get feedback you don't like than when you hear the thing
Right.
you want to hear. And people pay attention to that. It's like, oh, is that who I want to hire?
Right. Well, and you got to think about the spirit in which the person is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you feel there's some ill intent,
Right.
maybe don't take it so hard. You know,
Right.
it might be saying more about the person giving. But if you're in a contest, you got to figure that's pretty honest feedback.
Yeah, and the thing too is even if you are sure it's ill intent or you're sure they have it out for you, you know, going off on stage or freaking out publicly or posting all over about it, like that's just not the way to handle it.
Right. Right.
Because other people are going to look at it and go, oh, well, that person sure is proving them right.
For sure. Yeah. Sometimes like giving people like negative feedback or whatever. I know sometimes I want to give people feedback,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure how they'll take it.
You know, that's an interesting point. I think a lot of times people think about the person on stage being so nervous and having to receive, which it is very sensitive to receive that feedback, but people don't maybe even think about how hard it is for the person giving the feedback to think about every word they're saying and how it could be received. And it puts you in a very nervous spot sometimes to think, okay, how do I say this graciously? How do I give you something that's not just a nice job? Because if you just tell them, oh, you did a great job, you're doing them a disservice by not giving them anything to improve on. Even if they did even if they did an amazing set, but to be able to say, this would be the one thing that would take it over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So there's 3 requirements in order for negative feedback to be constructive.
Okay.
So it should be compassionate. So giving criticism in a way that indicates care for the recipient, and it should come from someone the recipient respects.
Oh, that's definitely true.
Yeah. Too specific, it should target the appropriate elements of the recipient's performance and offer specific guidance. So too. And like just telling somebody to be better or funnier, you know, that's probably not going to help much. And it should be a match. So it should align with the recipient's emotions and motivation. So that's a way you can kind of like if you're getting feedback, you know, constructive criticism, just think, is it compassionate? Is it specific? Is it kind of, because so, you know, if you hear the truth, you know, it will resonate with you, even if you don't want it to, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I mentioned last time that trick I learned about saving the very best thing that person did for the last thing that you tell them.
I can't wait to use that for the comedy voice, actually.
And I need to remember that tonight because I have Toastmasters tonight, and it's I'm going to be evaluating somebody. So I have to remember.
You know, some people do criticize people just as a way to be on a power trip.
Oh, definitely. And you have to be able to recognize that and to choose whether or not to engage in that when you see
right.
it.
But it's like, it's never a good idea to say, oh, well, you
right,
blah 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 do this. It's like no, Never is that a good idea. And then, you know, if you feel like someone's criticism is just trying to harm you, then move on. Don't spend any time or attention on that person.
You know, another thing that was important from the evaluation standpoint was they mentioned, you know, it's important to not make assumptions about how everybody else receives the information, and to, like, for me, like if I'm evaluating you or giving you feedback, to keep it, instead of saying you did this, you did that, necessarily be like, well, this is what I felt, this is what I saw, this is what I took in. Instead of saying, we couldn't hear you in the audience. Well, I can't say that. The rest of the audience could have heard. I could have been sitting in a bad spot, or
Right.
you know, or I could say, I could hear you enough over here, but I felt like it was soft enough that maybe the people in the back couldn't hear. I don't know, or you know, that kind of thing. But just keeping it very specific to what my experience was as the person giving the feedback, because it's not fair to me to put it on the person that nobody liked them or that they didn't do anything well, when it really is just that one person's perspective.
Yeah, well, you know, with contests and stuff like this, nobody is going to be happy 100% of the time.
Right. There's
you know,
that.
I was sitting right next to someone. We both thought that the judges had made a mistake on one person, but it wasn't the same person. I thought this one person should be out. She thought this other person should be out, but we both thought the same person should have been in.
Oh, interesting.
So just interesting that like two people sitting right next to each other, paying attention to the same things, had different ideas on who sucked.
Yeah, and also who sucked? Did you say who sucked? Well, and yeah, and it's because, like you said, that subjectivity, that perception, that, you know, sometimes it could be as simple as one of them might have told the joke that one of you got or hit home with you, and it didn't hit home, or the other person didn't get it. Because there are so many jokes too where, I mean, we talk about this all the time, where it's like you have to pick the right references, because if you pick something that is too outdated or is too
new, even
sometimes too new, depending on the audience.
A lot of people haven't even heard of it yet.
Like I had that joke I was working on where I referenced, you know, kids having their pictures taken all the time on Facebook, like, you know, they're being raised like the Kennedys, and you're like, no, it should be Kardashians. I'm like, oh, that's so much better, so much more relevant to the time frame, and also just funnier. But you know, there's that kind of thing where I hear people reference something from a movie or a star, and if you're sitting next to someone who got one reference and you didn't, then you're gonna think completely different people are funny.
Well, I remember when I first started doing comedy, there's a comedian who's moved away since, but he had a joke where he referenced Darius Rucker.
Oh, country star.
Okay, well, he wasn't then, and he was from Hootie and the Blowfish.
Okay.
Is where he originally came from, but this was in the space in between where
he did
nobody fucking knew who Darius Rucker was, is my point.
Right.
And so it'd be like, why are you using such a weird reference?
Yeah, that's this comedian I know around here always is talking about, like, Yoko Ono and John Lennon, and
the roast is not till Saturday. God, get off my job. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, but no, it's true, because if you use something that just, so please hold while Cheri checks her messages.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you about that later.
I just turned my alerts off.
Oh, well, I guess I'm not as good as you then, am I?
I have my moments.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, yeah, competitions, they are not easy. They are soul crushing. You have to go into them knowing that, and also just pick and choose. Like, do I have the the strength to face whatever this, like, am I ready for that kind of open criticism and feedback on stage in front of people? And if not, maybe I need to get a little
Maybe
tougher
wait a
before I
little
do it.
while. Yeah.
Yeah.
It will give you a tougher skin.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, sometimes that's not a bad thing. And sometimes it might be a bad thing.
And also,
So,
if your goal is to win, which is, it's a great goal, but if that's your only reason for joining the competition and you can't see anything that you'll get out of it from any of the rest of the process, then you're probably in it for the wrong reason and you shouldn't even try. But if you can step into it saying, I'm gonna do this contest, I'd love to win, I think I'm talented enough to win, I know I can make this happen. However, no matter what, I'm going to get better at working my set on the fly. I'm going to get better at getting feedback. I'm going to get feedback from different people, and I'm going to get exposed to a different audience. And I might even get a chance to chat and meet some judges in a way that I didn't talk to before, that might be new connections for my networking. Those are all wins. And so if you can't see any of that as a good reason to be part of it, and you only see the win, then not winning is just, you're going to feel like a failure.
Well, the thing is, any of those kind of contests are going to put, like at Nate's club, okay, not only are you in front of Nate, but there's people like me that book shows that are sitting in the audience looking to see, ooh, who do I want to book next?
Right.
So there's potential for future work just by being in it. So, you know, sometimes don't put so much pressure on yourself to have to win or have to place or have to, just go do your best. And the comedians that are having fun on stage, I've been telling everybody this, the ones that appear nervous are not doing well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
the ones that look like they're having fun are kicking ass.
And the thing is, people forget, every single time you get on stage, your only job is to make the audience laugh. Like, your job is just to have fun. Like, sure, there's these boxes you want to check, there's these things you want to do, but you're there to entertain the room. And if you do that, all the other stuff doesn't matter. Like, you put on a good show and have fun with it, that's why you're there.
I'm just looking at my computer because down in the corner it says that it's raining now.
It is raining.
Like, why does my computer need to tell me that? I can hear it raining right now. TMI, I guess.
This is fun.
Yeah. I can hear it, like, it's loud.
Yeah, I could hear it when I woke up this afternoon.
Oh. I know you're waking up and I'm like, oh, I'm almost off work.
That's not normally the case. And I actually thought, because a lot of times when I'll get like 5 or 6 hours of sleep a lot of times. So a lot of times I thought, oh, I got home 4:30. I pretty much went straight to bed. I thought, oh, I might still be up at, 9 or something. And I mean, it wasn't that late that I slept in. I mean, I think I woke up about 11:30 or something, but still.
Yeah, well, that's a normal amount of sleep. So
Yeah.
It's not like you over or you slept too much. So.
Well, and it always feels weird to do that in the morning, even though, all my responsibilities start in the afternoon today. Like, I have this and then I have Toastmasters, and so I'll be up late tonight. So I still have a full day ahead of me. It's just when it starts later, it feels like.
Well, then you get off, your schedule like this. We're going into summer, so I'm about to flip my schedule.
Oh, yeah.
I try my summer schedule. I try to get up early with Andrew, take care of all that, start a day, do some stuff, and then take a nap later so that I can be out late at night. So
nice. Well, we're gonna have some fun summertime stuff.
We are. I'm
looking forward to seeing all of you people at Tacoma Comedy Club at 4:30, where we roast each other, and then you can cheer for us, and we can win the overall roast.
Yeah.
The contest. Speaking of competitions.
Yeah, we got other people to beat. I forget who the third couple or pair is. I know it's Mike and Todd, you and me, and Adam and who? You remember?
I do remember. I did remember. Let's see here.
I didn't even look all this whole show to see if anybody had commented or anything. So if you commented, I will go back and answer.
Oh, Greg.
Beechler?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that'll be a fun show. Fun.
Yeah, and they're mean.
Allison said you're crossing off Yoko Ono jokes
Oh.
off the roast list.
No, I already had to cross the Yoko Ono jokes off months ago because people didn't like him. It was the Meghan Markle they didn't like. The Yoko Ono they didn't get. And it was like, fuck all you people in the audience. All right. Well.
All right.
Dave's making food out there I can smell. I can't wait to go see what it is.
All right.
All right. See you Saturday.
All right. See everybody then. Bye-bye.
Bye.